time, you just make it. If you want a new life, just take it. And if you wanna change the world, then speak real clear and make sure someone's listening. And if you wanna break my heart, then stay right here. It don't go anywhere. Do you love me now? 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 Do you love me now?
Oh, well, I guess it was only a matter of time before I got right back to Anna of Canada's early work again. If you would recall, I did review one of her short films a couple of years back, where she had a roommate who was not only a sociopath, but ended up killing her in the end. Oh, and they also had this very fantastic musical number.
We'll be going all out now.
But after watching a few more of her Anna of Canada's videos on YouTube, I did realize something, that she does have a lot of great potential as an actress and a lot of range as well. It's just too bad that 70% of the roles that she always plays in always turns out to be either typecasted as either a high school student or a college student. And after discovering her latest YouTube Red series, Youth and Consequences, where she plays a high school student yet again, despite the fact that she's a decade too old for this role, I might as well talk about another one of her early works, Riley Rewind. Released on December 12th, 2013, this short-lived 5-act web series is about a teenager named Riley Brown who has the ability to travel back in time while trying to prevent a fellow student from committing suicide.
Oh, it's like a reverse.
Teen drama, high school, and superpowers? Anna did have the idea to write this series, but who was able to back her up with this in order to fund and direct this project? Well, why not her then boyfriend at the time, Ray William Johnson? Another once prominent YouTuber who made a whole bunch of unfunny vlogs, skit videos, and music videos as well.
Do it doing your mom. Do it doing your mom. You know we straight with doing your mom.
Apparently he thought it would be a great idea to support this, mostly because of how popular teen stuff and superpowers were at the time, while throwing his girlfriend in there as the main protagonist. Because how can you ever go wrong there? Yeah, well, sometimes mixing two things together that you really like doesn't always come out to be a great combination. And how do I know this? Well, I'll get into that after the review. But for now, let's take a look at Riley Rewind. So the series begins with Act 1 with an obnoxious motion picture coloring book as we see Riley rushing through a crowd and into a hallway where she opens a door to which a bomb goes off right in front of her.
I ordered a brand new pair of glasses.
Okay, a very odd transition if you ask me. So Riley vlogs about how terrible the new glasses look on her face, and the intro appears, which to me seems a little too cinematic and over the top for a YouTube video. She complains about her new glasses because it is already hard enough being the social outcast who tries to ask out the cute boy in school. Yes, because as we all know, face plus glasses equals absolute nerd. Oh, the humanity! Riley makes her way over to this Lucas Cruikshank looking kid and asks him out to prom. And this is where my hard drinking begins again. She uses her powers to turn back the clock several times in order to get it just right. However, as Riley talks about her powers, as if it had to be explained straight out of a CW comic book show, her nose begins to bleed, which is apparently one of her weaknesses. As Riley's obligatory gay best friend Jay comforts her for being turned down multiple times, they both get ambushed by a couple of stereotypical nerds as Trevor asks Riley to prom.
This actually makes me so mad.
Man, why do I have the feeling in here that pretty much a lot of the comedy is going to be straight out of her skit video vlogs? Riley accepts Trevor's invitation, and we cut to more exposition into Riley's powers. Riley says she doesn't know where it came from, other than she was adopted at 3 years old. Later that day, as Riley and Jay help out setting up the prom decorations, the new student Quinn grabs a cigarette with Jay and asks him out to prom, which he is giddy with excitement. Meanwhile, Angela hangs herself in her room, leaving a note behind which reads, "Nobody cares." And the next day, Riley feels bad about her. Even though she was never friends with her to begin with, she decides to travel back to yesterday and help Angela out. In Act 2, Riley explains to us her weakness to her time traveling.
If I rewind too much or too often, my body just starts breaking down. Like coughs, headaches, nosebleeds. I'm like the Tiny Tim of time travel.
With great power comes great mental illness.
Jay is concerned about this, but no time like yesterday as Riley travels back one day and talks to Angela to see if they could hang out sometime. Angela refuses, and throughout the day we get an annoying montage that lasts for a good 40 seconds until she confronts Riley to leave her alone. Riley continues to be persistent as she tells Angela that high school is just the beginning and she will go on to do many great things in a cheesy, heartfelt way. Angela's response?
Don't bother, Jesus freak. I'm a Scientologist-loving Mormon who worships the devil, okay?
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
So as a result of Riley's actions, Quinn goes out with some girl instead. Oh, and a couple of suits try to intercept Riley, but she evades them. Foreshadowing! Later that day, Riley finally befriends Angela and feels great about it.
That's right. They call me Riley the Lifesaver.
Sometime later, Riley realizes that by spending the entire day with Angela, she completely forgot that Jay was supposed to go out with Quinn, thus creating an alternate timeline where one high school student actually goes out with someone else, which causes pretty much absolutely nothing. It's high school dating. But they try their best to ask out Quinn. However, Quinn is denying that he is gay.
Whoa, dude. Sorry, but I'm not gay.
You're totally homo.
Nope. I'm as straight as a stripper pole.
Oh, hell no!
Later that day, Riley drops by Angela's house, and despite her best efforts to befriend the stereotypical outcast, she is shocked to see her new friend hang herself in her room. So Riley tries multiple times to turn back the clock, a little bit earlier every time, but no matter how far back she goes, Angela always ends up right at the end of the noose, while Riley damages herself mentally and physically with her powers. While doing a little bit of research on this web series, I realized that Anna wrote this plot in mostly because of the fact that she had a sister at the age of 13 who tragically died in 2007 due to the same fate as Angela's character. She even made a video about it and everything else. I will leave a link in the description box below if you guys want to check it out, and I highly recommend that you should see it. The next night, Riley and Jay get ready for prom, but Riley feels pretty crappy because of Angela's death. But Riley soldiers on as she and Trevor arrive at the dance, and Jay tries to pick up on Quinn after finding out that he was supposed to go out with the stud muffin. It doesn't go well for Jay as he just pesters Quinn. Meanwhile, Riley and Trevor make their way into the hallway as the two of them have a serious talk about Angela's death when she accidentally spills her drink on him and looks for a rag in the janitor's closet, but instead discovers the bomb from the beginning at the very last second. This forces Riley to rewind time. Damn it, I said it. Back to 4 minutes ago, where her weakness of migraines and coughing up blood begins. Which doesn't really make sense because I thought she was supposed to go back multiple times in order for this to happen. I mean, Riley already had a good 1 day's worth of rest of not time traveling at all. Well, no matter. So Riley finds the bomb again and calls the police. Great, now we're getting somewhere. What's next?
911, what's your emergency?
There's a bomb at Benjamin Parker High School.
When is the bomb going to explode?
Less than 3 minutes.
Please hold.
I need more time.
Yes, need more time. It's not as if you could just, oh, I don't know, pull one of the many fire alarms in the hallway in order to get everyone out of the building. Riley goes further back an hour and a half and tells Jay about the bomb, and they both make their way to the janitor's closet, which is completely empty. And we get this hilarious appearance by Ray William Johnson himself.
Prom's not for another hour, Brown.
Well, you know, I just wanted to make sure that my dress matched the school.
Girls.
Oh man, move over, Stanley. There's a new king of cameos in town. Riley and Jay decide to wait it out to see who plants the bomb, and it turns out to be this physically handicapped student who is responsible for this nefarious deed. With only seconds to spare, Riley goes in for the heroic moment as she lightly taps the kid from behind, which is enough to knock him into the closet. They interrogate the kid by giving him to the count of 3. No, I'm not joking. That's seriously how this happens.
I'll give you 3 seconds to explain yourself before I turn you in. 3, 2, 1.
Lavon.
Riley Brown, everyone! Professional interrogator to mad bombers everywhere. The kid is revealed to be Edward, and he is very upset that Angela committed suicide yesterday, and no one cared. Even though someone took all day to spend time with Angela, as well as put up a small wall mural with her picture placed smack dab in the middle of the hallway. Also, one more thing about a fictional high school, you gotta love it when their school slogan is "Go, Fight, Win." Riley decides to go back one last time despite Jay's warning that it could probably kill her. They exchange a little bit more cringy dialogue and Riley takes the risk. So Riley does her big rewind to where Act 1 begins, especially the one where she passes through the memory of Jay and Quinn having their smoke break. However, that particular timeline that she rewound through was one where Riley tries to save Angela's life the final time, stopping Jay and Quinn ever meeting, let alone having their smoke break. A little goof that a fan just so happens to stumble upon. Riley tries to confront Angela, but stumbles onto the floor, to which both Edward and Angela help Riley to the nurse's office, and the two outcasts apparently hook up at the end. And after everything Riley went through these last few yesterdays, she feels right as rain as she vlogs about her super heroic accomplishment. Yep, everything is coming up Riley. Absolutely nothing else is wrong from here on out. No foreshadowings whatsoever. And 3, 2, 1.
Tossed in binder.
Riley Brown. Unfortunately, there will be no more rewinding.
Oh no, those suits that I vaguely mentioned are taking Riley away. Well, I guess I'll have to look into Season 2 of Riley Rewind some other time. Well, go figure. While at the time this series did draw in a lot of positive attention from their respective fan bases, the general consensus was a bit more negative with their opinions. And I have to say, I do have to agree with the majority. The concept of time travel has been done to death, but it's always one I'm ready to come back to gladly because I'm a sucker for those possibilities the concept provides. Riley's story, however, falls from the cliche tree, hitting every branch on the way down and lands flat on its face. It's trite, contrived, and it insists too much upon itself. I especially hate that practically every supporting character in here is pretty much stereotypical filler and are there to populate Riley's world so she can have someone to interact with. Now, I will give it some credit that Ray William Johnson's work behind the camera gives the show a very familiar feeling of a YouTube Red series, which is not surprising given the circumstances. The show has a lot of production value behind it, making it easily passable as a product straight out of the CW. Which is my way of saying that it looks okay, especially coming from somebody who made a living pretty much making a whole bunch of review meme videos. at the time. And I do get that Anna was trying to send a very serious message in regards to teen suicide. However, I feel like the overall main plot of the story is just so heavily glossed over with all of the ridiculousness that is in here, that it just made you want to cringe rather than just take it all in. Well, luckily for us, they never made any more episodes because a few months later in 2014, they decided to part ways and pretty much break up. And with that said, my final rating for Riley Rewind is without a doubt a 1.5 out of 5. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to hit up a local convention of mine to unwind and decompress for a while, especially after watching this crappy web series and having one of the worst months that I've ever had in March. And with that said, if you guys like what you see, feel free to subscribe, share, like, turn on the notifications, and all that other fun junk. If you guys would like to see more review web shows from my channel. And of course I do have Patreon and Twitch and a few other things as well where I diversify and everything else. If you guys would like to support me, anything would be great. For any requests for any future BoobTube reviews, feel free to hit me up on Patreon as well. And with that said, I will see you all next time on the BoobTube.